We're going to talk about crowdfunding. Who knows what crowdfunding is? Stick your hand up. Yeah, I've got this light right now. Okay. And also, who's participated in a crowdfunding campaign? Not hands up? Not too many. And who has ever run a crowdfunding campaign? Is that no one? Can I see any hands? Oh, one person in the back. Okay. So hopefully, I'm going to be able to impart and share quite a lot of knowledge and experience today. And I'm going to talk about how crowdfunding is this most amazing new digital marketing tool that's available to you now. I need my clicker thing, but give me a second. Do you have the clicker? Sorry, I must have lost it. So what is crowdfunding about? So crowdfunding is a great way. Oh, you might have stolen it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's see if this works. So crowdfunding is a great way to test an idea, to basically fund an idea, and actually to build a whole customer base or awareness for an idea through engaging with lots and lots of people that are on the world. So we've just heard Google talk, and Google talk a lot about the long tail of keywords and all these different things. Well, you know, if you think about it, I've got an idea that, let's say I love kimchi, which I don't, but let's just say I wanted kimchi, and I didn't want my kimchi to ruin my fridge, right, and all the other foods, because it does smell. So, hey, I want a kimchi fridge. Now, there might not be too many people out there in the world that want that, but there's probably 10,000. And crowdfunding allows me to suggest an idea for a kimchi fridge and actually market to those 10,000 people that desperately want it. And that's the power of the internet, that's the power of digital marketing. If I was trying to do that in traditional ways, I'd really, really struggle, because there's probably only one person who wants to buy a kimchi fridge in every city in the world, with the exception of Seoul and elsewhere. But that's it. So this is a really, really powerful concept. So what does a crowdfunding campaign look like? So typically what you do, I don't know if this might have a light thing. Not sure if that works. Typically, when you set up a very basic page, and the story that you want to tell is obviously the name. I'm going to show you a funny video in a second, but the name of basically the campaign, what you're hoping to do. The video is the killer piece of material, and we'll talk about its importance later. You know, how much money you're trying to raise. You tell your profile of what it's all about, and then listing below, you'll have a lot more information about the product or the service, who your partners are, who's covered it in the media, because people need to believe you, right? You know, so I've just put this page up, and basically, if they've never seen me before, they don't know me, how am I going to validate I really exist? So the media is a great way of doing that, and showcase the media and the stories. And then, of course, if I fund, what do I get? Because, you know, nothing's for free. So if I give you $5, you'll give me heartfelt thanks, you know, and tell everybody on your Facebook page how good I was. In this case, maybe if I fund it by $50, I might get a year's worth of toilet roll for free. That's a good perk. It'll make sense in a second. But, you know, perks are a way of rewarding people for funding. And so, and as we'll talk about later, it could be to support creative projects or actual real businesses. But hopefully, if we've got this right, let's just play a video.
Hi, I'm Simon Griffiths, co-founder of Who Gives a Crap. We reckon every trip to the bathroom should be a feel-good experience. So we've spent the last 2 years developing the only toilet paper that delivers one every time. Who gives a crap? It's a breakthrough on so many levels. Let me take you through them. It's better for the environment, and we've cut the nasties, so it's better for your body. That feels good. But unlike other recycled toilet paper, we're all about comfort. So it has a beautiful fluffy texture and low PTR, or poke-through rate. That feels good. You can choose to buy it off the shelf or have it home delivered. Either way, it costs the same as other brands, but comes with 1,200% more puns. That feels good. But here's where we're really on a roll. 50% of our profits go to sanitation projects in the developing world. You see, while a trip to the bathroom can be the ultimate feel-good experience for some, for many, it's not, because 2.4 billion people don't have access to a proper toilet. The The bad stuff ends up in waterways, causing diseases that fill half the hospital beds in the developing world. That doesn't feel very good. And that's why we're donating 50% of our profits to WaterAid. WaterAid help the world's poorest people access clean water, sanitation, and hygiene education. They're literally saving the world from the bottom up. It's as simple as that. We take something that everybody needs and use the proceeds to help people in need. And that feels really good. Heading up Who Gives a Crap, Jehan Ratnatunga in LA, Danny Alexander in New York, and myself down in Melbourne, Australia. We're engineers and product designers who in 2010, through a shared passion for humanitarian aid and toilet humour, developed a business model that grabbed a lot of headlines and won a bunch of awards for entrepreneurship. We're busting to press go on the first production run and create Who Gives a Crap's first edition. Our feel-good toilet paper needs a feel-good price. And for that, we have to order in bulk. But we need $50,000 to make that happen. Basically, we need toilet paper. And like anyone who's waiting for toilet paper, we need someone to help us out. We're asking for your support. We need $50,000 to fill our warehouse with the first bulk order of Who Gives a Crap. And I won't be leaving this toilet until we've raised enough for our first order. I'm sitting down for what I believe in, and I'm not getting up until I've got some toilet paper. $50,000 worth. Till then, you can jump on our website and see me sitting right here on our live feed. So please, bit of help.
Okay, that's pretty awesome, right? So has anybody ever seen that before? I'm kind of hoping nobody has, so we can do a little bit of a quiz. Okay, so he really did sit on his toilet until he raised his money. So how long do you think it took him to raise $50,000 on Indiegogo? Now let me just give context. The campaign length to raise this money was 45 days. Okay, so if it took him 44 days to raise $50,000, he was sitting on that toilet. Obviously, he didn't have to go anywhere to go to the loo, but for 44 days. So how long do you think it took him to raise $50,000? Let's have a gentleman in the back.
2 days.
Anyone else? 4 days, 1 week. 1 day. 1 month. Well done. Well done. He should have had a lot of pain. It's not right. It took him 48 hours, 2 days. Right? Isn't that amazing? Right? Isn't that just amazing? Clearly, it demonstrates if you've got a sense of humor and you're nutty, there's other people who share the same sense of humor and just as nutty out there online that would like to help you out, right? And think about this as marketeers, because how often have we gone around and said, that idea is too crazy, it won't work? Well, actually, you never know, right? Because if you'd ever pitched this idea in a corporate boardroom, do you think it would have gone anywhere? No chance, right? So these guys, clearly mad as a hat, clearly willing to take a risk and do something that they really believe in, and basically raise their money to make it a success. And this is pretty wonderful stuff. So out there right now, we'll talk about the mechanics a little bit later, but right now there's really great examples of crowdfunding platforms. They all have their own little different DNA. So the rock star of them all, Kickstarter, which got it all going, tends to focus on sort of projects rather than businesses. It tends to focus on more creative initiatives, whereas Indiegogo, which is a global platform, will actually enable you to launch a business. So if you want, rather than go and beg and borrow seed funding, you can beg and borrow from the crowd. So you can actually launch a business on Indiegogo. You've then got more regional players like Possible, who basically, again, support creative initiatives, or if you want to raise money for a film or a book, these are great guys to go to. And then local superstars like Crowdfunding, which are actually really thinking about equity crowdfunding as well. So there's different platforms for different uses. And so, again, what are the reasons for crowdfunding? One, getting some money. 2, proving your concept. Because the number of times that I've presented a concept to people and say, it ain't going to work, you're mad. This is a great platform to find out how many mad people are out there. Because if there's 1 million mad people out there, then we've got a business, right? Depending on what your price point is. And also, it's a great way of building a base of supporters. And it doesn't just start and finish at the campaign. These are fans for life, right? Because clearly if they chose to take that first step when you had nothing, surely they believe in something that you have. And maybe if you can keep them engaged, they're going to come along for the ride. And if you need any parallels, think about those nutcases that were Apple customers. So when Apple was dead and buried in 1997, these guys were still buying its product, right? And they're heroes today because of look where Apple is. So there's crazy people that really are passionate and believe in companies and want them to survive. And these are the same kind of people that are being drawn to basically these kind of businesses. So these crazy supporters could be pioneers with you in building the next big enterprises, the next big successful product launch. So how did we learn our trade? Because, just stepping into the whole crowdfunding thing is quite daunting. So what we as Newton Circus, we've got a great passion with supporting young enterprise in Myanmar. And we have this, as part of our doing a TEDx Yangon, we've created this forum called Sustainable Business Myanmar, which is like, don't cut down trees, don't pollute Myanmar. Let's try and create new businesses that are sustainable, responsible, and really celebrate the crafts and stuff that you've got or your skills. And so in Sustainable Business Myanmar, we use that as a platform to call out to potential wannabe entrepreneurs and say, if you've got a great idea, if you've got a great project, we'll help you get money, because there was no money in Myanmar. But we felt that the diaspora from Burma, Myanmar, right, and people that are passionate and interested about that company would step forward and help fund such initiatives. So this is the first one that we supported. And we put a call out to people with interesting ideas to connect to us. And these guys, who basically, it's all about a volunteer program that took Burmese students to go and visit Sri Lanka to learn from those students who had, taken the first years after sort of the conflict had ended. And they wanted to know how these students were contributing and helping society develop so they could bring back those learnings and apply that in Myanmar. And so just a simple $5,000. And basically, it was done. They did it basically in the time that they allowed, I think about 45 days or 60 days, and they finally got there, right? There was no other way of them getting money, right, other than, say, the traditional forms. Yeah, online, there was all these amazing people that really wanted to respond to it. Here's another example. So these guys basically they wanted to raise $20,000, and these guys raised $27,000. And this is all about, if you're familiar with Better Barista here in Singapore, this is very much helping underserved women basically learn skills. In this context is baking, and they actually learn the skills to bake and sell their products to the high-class hotels, emerging high-class hotels and restaurants. And this was a fantastic initiative that got sponsored. Now, in this case, the perks would just feel good, as it was the other one. There was, they couldn't actually, if I funded it from America, I was unlikely to get some bread in the post. But there was people out there that was really willing to support. This one has just started. And I think what's fascinating about the power of crowdfunding and the power of individuals, this is all about basically, supporting IT literacy amongst rural youth. So I'm going to play a video now, and you'll see that these guys don't know what a computer is, right? Yet we're trying to bring IT literacy to them, right? But even in rural Myanmar, where they don't really know what computers are, they still manage to produce what I consider to be quite a stunning video to pitch their idea, and we believe that they'll get the funding over the next 50 days. So,
စာစီခြင်းနဲ့မိတူဆွဲခြင်းနဲ့ဆိုရင်တော့45မိနစ်လောက်ကြာတဲ့တခြားရွာမှာသွားပြီးတော့ဆွဲရတာပေါ့နော်ကွန်ပျူတာတွေပါလေစိုက်ရတွေပါလောက်ချင်တယ်
တော့ဘယ်တစ်ခါမှမမြင်ဘူး
ဘွဲသာရသွားတော့ပါဗျာအလောက်ကင်တွေကနဲပါပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်တို့လူငယ်တွေအတွက်အလောက်ကင်ဆိုရှိသင့်ပါတယ်
computer သင်ပေးနေတာဟုတ်ကဲ့ရှိသွားပါပြီ။အားကြောင့်သူတွေရောက်သူရသားတွေအဆင်ပြေစွာတက်နိုင်မှုအတွက်သင်တန်းကြီးကိုအနေနဲ့ပဲတက်မှတ်ပေးထားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ကျွန်တော်ဒီကွန်ပျူတာစင်တာလေးရှိတည်တဲ့အတွက်ကိုဝင်ငွေရလုပ်ငန်းလေးတွေဆောင်ရွက်တော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အဲဒီလုပ်ငန်းလေးတွေကတော့တက်ခွင့်ရခြင်းလုပ်ငန်းရဲ့ကွန်ပျူတာမိတ်တူစာရေးဆိုင်လုပ်ငန်းလေးလုပ်ဆောင်တော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ www.possible.com မှာဝင်ရောက်ပြီးပတ်သက်ပေးလို့ရတဲ့ဖိတ်ခေါ်ပါတယ်။ကျွန်တော်တို့ဖိတော့မကြခဲ့ပါဘူး။ကျွန်တော်တို့လည်းဒီမှာတိုင်းသွားပြတယ်
။အခုရ TV ရအကြီးပဲ။အရောက်ကြီး။ကစားတဲ့ခါမှာလည်းနှိပ်ပါ။အဲ့ဒါပဲသိတယ်
So I think that's incredibly awesome that you've got bleeding edge fundraising, sort of approaches, really innovative approaches to a very, very basic problem that we all take for granted these days. So before I get into a very deep practical example and go through the nuts and bolts of how you go about doing a crowdfunding campaign, as a reference, if you need to learn anything, this is a pretty good blog. That's right. So I'll leave that for a few minutes. So Tim Ferriss, go and check it out. He's got loads of templates, loads of case studies. He's your dude. Right? Really, really useful. You got that? A few more minutes? Excellent resource. Okay. So, Silverline. Are any of you aware of Silverline? You might have seen it in the media. Yeah. So just be aware, Silverline started off as a belief that we all wander around with our smartphones and we all benefit greatly from this wonderful technology. And it's not just us as young professionals. I use the word young there, didn't I? Middle-aged professionals, maybe. Can kid myself. Students, teenagers, and even young kids have been benefiting from the smartphone revolution, helping them with education, stay closer with their community, help them with reminders to get fit, whatever. But yet there was one big group that weren't participating and benefiting from it, and that was our seniors. And, we really asked the question why. But whatever the reasons, whether it's too expensive or applications hadn't been designed for them, we felt that seniors could benefit from the smartphone revolution, this brilliant technology to help them, get some joy, be close to their families and communities and all this kind of stuff. And what we basically did is we developed a program with the support of SingTel where underserved seniors, so seniors that have been abandoned and no longer have the support of their families, would get this gift. It would, put this into context. These guys would not necessarily see somebody for 7 days until the food parcel turns up or the caregiver turns up. And so if anything happened to them, they'd be just left there to rot, right? And this regularly happens, right? They're dying and nobody come around for 3 or 4 days. And we felt in the simplest form, if a smartphone had run out of battery, it could tell somebody, right? Just to check in to tell people something was up. So Silverline, we brought this gift. We've given people second-hand smartphones. They've got loads of apps that have been designed for them. And SingTel's given basically free voice and data plans. And they're loving it, right? It's really making a difference. So that was cool. But what we then wanted to do was we basically wanted to say we want to build more apps. And we want to think about how we were going to do that. And so when I went to the VC community, they said, Daryl, we love your idea. It's absolutely brilliant. But how are you going to make money? Because doing good doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make money. And I really, really struggled to convince people that they should fund us because this could then lead on to a really exciting enterprise. So rather than waste my time spending loads of presentations with VCs who clearly didn't get it, and I apologize if anybody's here, I thought, let's just get on with it and go to the crowd and get them to validate this idea. So what you might be getting the impression now is that crowdfunding platforms or crowdsourcing platforms are for action. If you're all about action, if you're all about doing stuff, leverage these. What have you got to lose, right? You fast track. You fast track the validation of your idea, or you fast track getting feedback about your idea, and so you have to pivot or whatever the fancy terms are. Right? Why wait around for old people who don't understand, right? Or in corporate boardrooms, right? When they have to go through processes to get an idea through. crowdfunding is all about action. And if you're an action-orientated person, you want to do something, think about using these. So we set this campaign up. And so we didn't set a crazy goal. We said we'd like to raise $50,000 for basically to do two things. One, basically to develop more apps. And these apps could then become commercial properties. The second thing that we wanted to do in particular was we wanted to buy more second-hand phones. Because unfortunately, not enough people are donating all those phones that were in their drawers. For some reason, people like to keep their second-hand smartphones in their drawers. I don't know why, but they do. Or they like to throw them into landfill. I don't know why, but they do. So we thought, here's an intervention. Let's get charity donations. People like to do charity donations, and then use that money to buy second-hand phones. But so that was our approach, and that's what we wanted to do. So we set up the campaign, and we've literally, this is cool. We've been going for 7 days, and we've already raised $21,000. So we're 40% of the way there after 7 days in a 45-day campaign. So the round of applause is not for me, it's for all those crazies that believe this is a really great idea. And that's what we need, a big round of applause, for the crazy people that really want to support these initiatives. So let me just play you our pitch video, because to be honest, so a little fact, when people come to these pages, we've gone to great lengths. You should see the content that we've put in our single campaign page, but nobody reads it. All they do is watch the video and say, I like that, or I don't like that, and go and fund. Right, so all the content, we've got to have that content there, who our partners are, what our objectives, check out the look and feel of the apps. But basically, most people just watch the video and make a decision there and then. And so, like I Need a Crap, or whatever that video was called, hopefully our video is good. But let's just see.
Hi, I'm Leland and this is Jason, and we'd like to introduce you to Silverline. It's a new project that creates apps that are custom designed for seniors.
We've spent the last 18 months working with underserved seniors, providing them with donated secondhand smartphones, and building apps to address their needs.
It's amazing the improvement it's made to the quality of their lives, but we're just scratching the surface. There's so much more that we can do. We want to bring this to our parents and our grandparents and let them have access to the smartphone revolution.
We've already created a suite of 5 apps, from a simple picture-based contact list to a health app with medication reminders and a fun photo app to keep seniors active.
But we have plans to create even more apps focused on health and well-being, connecting families, education, and emergency services. We've already started a game that can detect cognitive decline, and a personal safety app
which will detect a fall and automatically notify a caregiver.
Silverline was originally created as a charity program here in Singapore. We encouraged people to donate their secondhand smartphones, installed the apps, and gave them to underserved seniors. SingTel, the largest service provider here in Singapore, was generous enough to donate 1,000 voice and data plans to the program.
So now we want to build on our successes and create even more apps for seniors, all seniors, not just the underserved, but for our parents and our grandparents. And we have lots of great ideas and some working prototypes already in the works. But we're going to need at least $50,000 to make the next suite of apps happen. Of course, the more money we raise, the more apps we can make.
If you have a parent or grandparent who could benefit from these apps, or simply think that Silverline is a good idea, please help us get our project funded. It's the generosity of people like you who will make this project a reality, to put technology in the hands of our seniors and make their lives as happy and healthy as they can be. Thank you.
Okay, how many people want to fund? Who wants to contribute? Didn't it do that good a job? I mean, to be honest, so I hope that, I'm not trying to take the mickey out of us, but I mean, the fact is that video, hopefully it convinced 10% of you that you'd like to basically make some contribution, some form of contribution in some way, because that's what we have. And if you're thinking about this technique, and it's like any piece of communication, you need to think about, am I telling this story clearly? Can people believe me? Does by us referencing the work that we've already done, the charity program, and working with a large organization like a SingTel, help you believe that we will deliver? Are we building the validation? So it's this kind of stuff that you need to communicate in your video on that side. So when you're starting to build the campaign, when you're starting to think about the campaign, there's a number of principles that you can use to help you. So it's incredibly hard work, and you'll start to see the hard work when we go through the different stages. But really create a plan about how you're going to run this campaign. Think about how you can minimize the effort. So, for example, I've got about 1,500 people in my LinkedIn profile, and I want to talk to them all about this, right? But what's the best way of me doing this? If I just spam them with a broadcast, I might get some response, but maybe I need to email them one-on-one, right? I mean, that's a lot of work when you're a busy person, right? Think about all the potential media outlets that are out there. So you just really think about how you can plan your day and basically use your time as effectively as possible. There's great software tools out there to help outsource distribution, also automation. So, for example, I want to send an email announcing the campaign is launched at the same time to everybody. So there's simple tools like Boomerang, right, for Gmail that you can basically utilize. So you do a week before, you set up the whole campaign and you schedule the emails to go out at a particular time. You can also use your mail client as a way of outsourcing, reminding people about this whole initiative. So unfortunately, if anybody does email me, and they automatically get I'm on holiday, vacation kind of reply, telling them all about my wonderful campaign and reminding them to basically click on this link and go fund or share with their friends. You can also basically set up pages where, you will encourage your friends to tweet and Facebook and share your story. And what we found is that in the case of media, if a piece of media has been so kind to write about it, we'll promote the fact that they've written about it and encourage anybody to share that story with their friends, because then they're more likely to do a follow-up story. So it's all this kind of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, trying to get the viral effect. And then this whole concept from the kitchen of prepare and pick up. So if you're a chef, you'll prep, you'll prep. And then when you're ready to go, then you need to pick up all the ingredients and get going and cooking. So, preparation is really, really important, so then you can quickly move on that side. So, perfecting your pitch is critical. And the key way to perfect your pitch is to really think about key themes. So in the case of Silverline, we've got the theme of seniors, right? We've got the theme of health and well-being, helping seniors stay healthy and last for long and live independently for longer. And we've got the role of technology. Now, actually, it's kind of interesting. There's 3 distinct interest groups in that area. So that's 3 groups that we could possibly engage and reach out to. And that's so once you've got your themes, think about how you can communicate a message that could appeal to people that have concerns or interest in that particular area. Next, think about your supporters and who they could be. So your supporters could be your friends, right? Your supporters could be the media, who they think is a great story to write. Or your supporters could be business partners. And really think about how you can leverage them to the best effect. And what's really important is when you want to prioritize your outreach, which you can only do so much, you have sort of 3 things that you can think about: relevance, relationships, and reach. And ultimately, the number 1 is relationships, right? The better you know somebody, the more likely they are to fund, the more likely they are to basically forward on your message to somebody else on that side, right? So start first with your closest relationships. And so, as an example of a technique, we all took our Facebook friends and we all took our LinkedIn connections. We then basically looked at who was talking about, say, seniors or technologies out there, who were influential bloggers, and we tried to find out who knew them. So whether we had a direct connection or not, or whether we were connected via a friend. So if I had a direct connection, my team asked me, can you write to Piers at PSFK and tell him about this initiative? And of course, because Piers knows me, he replied and he published it straight away, right? Then there's some people in Fast Company that I don't know, but a buddy of mine in Shanghai does. So he then got an email from me and say, hey, Andrew, how's it going? Can you do me a favor? Can you contact this person and basically ask them to write about our blog or get in contact with me? And can I just say, LinkedIn is an amazing, amazing tool for this. Facebook ain't bad, right? But LinkedIn's amazing because you put all your professional information there. So LinkedIn is a treasure mine for basically, treasure is just a gold mine for basically understanding, relationships and making connections to get your message out there on that side. So reach is really important, but I'll tell you now, getting a post on a blog, getting a piece in the media is fantastic for validation. So we had coverage in the Straits Times. So people believe you. They say, if I'm going to give you your money because you've been in the media, I trust you. But it's your friends that will basically drive the fundraising. And I'm using this in the context of fundraising, but if you think about how you're going to be marketing, getting people to believe I want to buy this product, it's the same thing, right? Your friends will be the biggest advocates for your program on that side. So, step 5, template everything. So, would it surprise you that we actually have 10 email templates already prepared? So we have one email template which goes out to friends saying, guess what? We've got a crowdfunding campaign happening next week. Do you want to come to our launch party? And I'll talk about launch parties in a second. We have another email template which goes out to the media saying, we're doing this. Please go to our press kit box where you can see the video which is embargoed and all the content for the materials so you can get ready to write about it and launch it at the same time. We have social media post templates. So, we basically, we were ready to prepare a video a week after the campaign started saying, thank you, it's been brilliant, you've done such a great job. And we didn't know how much money we'd raised, right? But basically we were prepared to do that. So, social media posts, thank you notes, campaign updates and videos, all of this needs to be templated before you get going, because this is all about preparation on that side. So, as I said, schedule your emails and your posts, right? So all of this doesn't become too difficult, right? So this was already prepared. So this, just below the boomerang, this is if you do email me, this was the email reply that you got up until this morning, which was saying, hey, we just launched this campaign, etc., etc., etc. This morning I changed my email reply to being, hey, we're 40% there. If you haven't funded, please do so and tell your friends. LinkedIn, and then also basically post into Facebook and elsewhere. The launch party. So what's the launch party about? The launch party, so you invite your closest friends to basically come along to your launch party. It enables them to hear a little bit more about what you've been doing for the last 6, 12, 18 months, whatever it may be. You give them some beer, you give them some pizza, and then you ask them to bring their computer or their laptop or their tablet and get blogging and sharing with all their friends, right? So, right there and then, within the first hour of launching, you're asking your close group of friends to start outreaching, to create buzz, to create surround sound to everybody, and hopefully funding as well. So, the worst thing that you can do is have a false start, right? So 2 days in, 3 days in, you haven't raised any money. So I'll be honest, right? I had $2,000 in my pocket, right? And I gave it to friends, right? So within 24 hours, basically, we already had $2,000 funded, right? So then it looked like we had some momentum. Luckily, I hadn't had to do any more, right? So we've got the ball running. But people need to feel that somebody else has put some money in. Yeah. So even though these are the crazies, the pioneers, they still need to know that somebody else put some money in, right? Who else has started it? So you do have to have a little bit of money in your pocket just to get things going. And that's okay. That's understandable. And then, just like a real pain, it's non-stop updates because you've got to tell everybody how we're doing. We're really doing great. So, well, in the end, 24 hours into the campaign, we'd actually hit $4,000, and that was worth celebrating. What a great photo, right? So using materials from your launch party and stuff just to generate excitement. Then basically, I think this was on Monday. Oh no, on Sunday, we'd raised $20,000, right? So just telling people it's good. On the Monday, we were able to announce that we had already, through the care packs people were buying, because we have different types of packages people can buy. I probably should drop onto that in a second. We were already able to give 63 underserved seniors here in Singapore with Lion Befrienders or Winning Hearts new phones, second-hand phones with voice and data plans provided them free. That made everybody feel good. And I didn't touch on the perks. So when you do come to contribute, there are a number of ways that you can contribute. $5, right? And that's just like we say thank you so much for helping us. The second perk, which is like $99, which is the early adopter, will give you all the apps that we produce, right, over the next 2 years for free, right? And you can use them for yourself, or give them to your grandparents, etc. Then the $79 pack is the care pack, right, where we'll buy a second-hand phone to give to an underserved senior and basically match that with a sponsored voice and data plan. Then for $10,000, we'll design a completely new community program, to benefit a particular group. So we're creating ways. We've got about 10 or 12 different ways that people can fund us. And what we're basically doing is creating opportunities for the individual who just wants to support, all the way through to the foundation and the corporate, right? And we have a foundation right now. So we had the meeting yesterday with a foundation who's saying, we'd like to buy the $25,000 pack, right? Because there's a particular group of seniors that we'd really want to support, right? Which is pretty cool, right? On that side. So right now, most of our contributions are coming from Singapore, and this will make sense when I get to the end. So, non-stop, as I was saying, non-stop updates, non-stop media outreach, right? Never let it go. Keep telling the good news. So the next big piece of good news, I hope, is that Silverline is about to become, within a week, I hope, the most successful crowdfunding campaign Singapore has ever had, right? So, not there yet, but hopefully, fingers crossed. And so that will be media. That will be news stories, right? So a real success story. And again, hopefully that will generate further awareness and support. Also, keep reaching out to influential people. So this man, Scott Spirit. Is anybody from WPP here that works for Ogilvy or anybody like that? JWT? No. So this man is the Global Strategy Director for basically WPP, Scott. And in his LinkedIn, he's got 6,000 people. So I convinced him to post on my behalf to 6,000 heavy influencers. And I'll be nagging him to post again, so hopefully he can generate some more for us. Fine. Never stop self-promotion. So that's why I'm here. And if you look at my T-shirt, I've got the URL on the back. I'm wearing this T-shirt, or the T-shirts I've had made, not just one T-shirt for pretty much the next 45 days. I've got business cards that are printed with the Silverline on the back. You're just non-stop, right? Because this is my passion. So what a shame if I don't get it funded. How ridiculous. Why would I not stop? So you promote in the physical context and you promote in the online context. And always look out for basically opportunities. And if you do want to crowdfund or check it out, silverline.mobi will take you there. Finally, what happens when the goal is achieved? Well, actually, that's when the hard work really starts, right? Because what you discover is, although the fundraising was really hard work, or the crowdfunding was really hard work, you've now got to deliver, right? You promise everybody they'll get their apps in April or May or June, and you've got to produce those. Now, luckily, we've already produced a lot of the apps, so we'll be able to reward people straight away, and then we'll be able to give them the updated versions and the new ones that we're doing. So we've really got a good platform to do. But here's the important point. Be ready to start your next campaign, right? Because basically you've just started a business, you've just started a journey, or you've just started a mission, right? So there's no letting up. And you've now, because you've just had a huge success, you're just going to be rewarding people with the apps and loads of great stories of how underserved seniors or groups of seniors are really benefiting from the smartphone revolution. That's warm stuff, right? And you want them to help amplify and tell that story. Now, if most of your funding came from Singapore, right, and we're in the tech world, so it can be global, right, then we want to go out to Australia and do our crowdfunding campaign in Australia and in the US and elsewhere, And who knows, maybe a VC will come along and just say, crikey, guys, you've really proved that there's a big business here, there's a big market opportunity here. But it doesn't mean you have to stop there. And so, the comment that I would have is that although as an entrepreneur trying to break a new category, or as an artist trying to fund a film or a book or whatever it may be, or a not-for-profit trying to fund a particular program, these principles that I've just been sharing apply to everybody in every walk of life. You know, you could be a research and development department in a corporate that really wants to test an idea. And so actually, you go out to the market, show them the product, and say, if you do fund or pre-order, you'll be the first to have this product, right? I mean, it's a great platform to test ideas and to view this as just pre-ordering, right? You know, enabling a group of people to be the first to have. Or you've got particular designs for trainers and you want to see if people like them. Let's see if they'll buy them, right? By pre-ordering and getting on board, or testing ideas and concepts. So I think crowdfunding is a platform for action, action, action. And as long as you're action-orientated within a government, within an organization, or as an entrepreneur, or as a citizen, it can be applicable for you if you learn all the basic techniques and tools. So that's it. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a sales pitch, and I apologize for that now, but hopefully I've been able to impart some knowledge and some learnings with reference to this really dynamic platform.
Let's give it up for Daryl.
Sure.